Start the day with a little neck rub. People are complimenting your fur growing back in, Steve. T-Rex, they just compliment you, bugging me, heckling me. Well, I'm trying to do the weather. 72 degrees. It's July 23rd, 7:43 in the morning. Barometer 29.98 and just declining a little bit. The future forecast says sun and clouds. I guess the sun could come out. I fixed one audio. Ready? Gonna close the door. Can't hear the door anyway. Can you hear me? Thankfully, there's not a lot of wind. Did I say something about sort of a rare summertime nor'easter today? I think I did. That wind is not from the northeast. Very little wind. Very light rain happening right now. I mean, just barely enough to wet the top of this table over here. No puddles. Here in the Boston area, the least amount of rain, I think, in the last 24 hours in the Northeast. The energy is kind of split in two different directions this morning. The temperature, dew point, wind analysis map does show the barbs from the Northeast there, from Connecticut to Cape Cod. There's a light flow from the Northeast. And if you see a cross at a station, that just means it's calm. And the temperature and dew point near 70 here in southern New England, 60s in northern New England. And there are downpours this morning. They just happen to all miss me. Downpours start with the satellite imagery. The satellite shows thicker clouds east of Toronto, northern New York. There's actually one flood warning in northern New York this morning for heavy rain. And then those heavy clouds extend into Maine. And then there's another batch of real heavy weather missing us well off to the south this morning. Those convective clouds over the ocean. So we have the energy is diffuse. You can't focus the energy. That's a good thing too. Because in this kind of environment, you can get severe weather. If it was focused, I remember 5 years ago today, there was a wave on a warm front crossing southern New England, and my brother Ed captured this image over Bass River. Yeah, tornadoes on Cape Cod 5 years ago today. That's not happening today. Even though we have a wave on a warm front, it's a much weaker wave. And the strongest energy is in northern New England. Go back to the radar now, and you can see that heavy rain crossing Maine with some, I don't think there's too much lightning in there, but there are definitely downpours. And that's moving east and out. And in southern New England, there's very little left. So I don't think I'm getting more than a trace out of this first batch of precipitation, but there's plenty more to go. Look at the webs in the Alberta spruce, capturing the little bit of rain. Could have used a lot more rain. You see that bee come right out? The bees and I have a funny relationship. I love them and they haunt me. So last night was the first round of precipitation to come through here, and we did not get anywhere near 5 inches of rain near Berlin, New York, south of Albany. That's what the HRRR had forecast for yesterday, but we did get 1 to 2 inches of rain there. And across parts of Vermont into northern New Hampshire and Maine, we've also had over 1 inch of rain. Connecticut, 3/4 of an inch of rain. The least amount of rain, I think, in the whole area is right here at the TK Worm Farm. There's another bee right there. 0.02. I get the least amount of rain. Oh well. Sedge grass doesn't care. It grows well in the hot weather. It was humid yesterday, and it's humid again today. Relative humidity is up near 100%, but again, it's relative to the temperature. The dew point and temperature are in the low 70s, and it's going to stay sticky. What is it, Steve? Come on, around the fire pit. Where does he want to go? Go ahead. Cats and dogs and weather, and the first pumpkin of the season over there. Tomatoes, as soon as they start getting ripe, things are going to eat them. The bees live right in there, and the weather forecast is More of the same, hit or miss showers or thunderstorms. I guess we can try and show that HRRR again. I'll show you the surface map today. Fronts are stalled near the Canadian border and near the south coast, and waves of energy coming along. Almost impossible to time or place where and when it's going to rain, but we can get maybe a general idea here with this HRRR. Thank you, Ken. The rains of today push to the east with a scattered shower or a thunderstorm possible this afternoon, most likely across northern New England. I don't think we see too much sun anywhere in New England. Best chance would be in southern New England. And then another batch of energy coming across with waves moving across northern New England and southern New England. One batch of rain trying to take a jab at Cape Cod and the islands tomorrow afternoon, but more likely the showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the higher country further north and in northern New England. That's tomorrow. The air is coming from the east in Boston, from the west in western New England, so that's convergence, and that causes rain clouds. And if you go to the Boston 5-day meteogram from the Euro, there's the temperature going up close to 80 today. We only hit 81 yesterday at Boston only, but it was very sticky. But then the wind comes in from the east, and the temperature and the dew point are pegged very close to 70 tomorrow in Boston, with an east wind at 10 to 20 miles an hour, low pressure stronger to our south than our north. There is a high to the north, but that's going to be giving way to another low on Thursday. So a lot of moving parts here. And then the end of that 5-day, look at that gorgeous weather coming in Friday and Saturday. Looks great. The temperature goes back up to the 80s. The dew point goes down to the 60s or 50s even. And a nice push of air comes in on Friday and Saturday. So let's go to the Euro and try and get this under 10 minutes. There's the high pressure over southeastern Canada, and that causes that air to come in from the north and east, low pressure moving south of us. And then all of a sudden, tomorrow night and Thursday, boom, a 10-11 low breaks into that high in southeastern Canada. And we have the warmer and more humid air pushing all the way up into northern New England, not as if it's not humid already, on Thursday. And then Thursday night and Friday, here comes the nice high pressure system from Ontario. A lot of isobars on Friday. Nice push of northwest wind, and dew points come down to the 50s and even 40s in northern New England. Just an elevated shower with instability type weather here on Friday afternoon. Then Saturday and Sunday, very few isobars. You have an upper level low in eastern Canada, a surface high pressure system over the northeastern United States. Comfortable nights for sleeping, lows in the 50s and 60s, highs in the 80s with a sea breeze, maybe keeping us in the 70s at the beach. But the beach weather is a 10 out of 10 this weekend. Looks great. We could only throw in some surf. And then after that, we have diffuse fronts crossing Canada, and the real warm and sticky front off the southeastern United States, with low pressure missing us to the south. And eventually the heat tries to build back in here. It's not looking as hot as it did yesterday. This keeps going back and forth on that 588 thickness at the end of the period. Looks mostly just over Kansas and Oklahoma now, but it's going to turn hot. The heat advisories in the west will spread east again next week. In the meantime, gray, not much solar energy today. Now, I did some mowing yesterday, finally. I hadn't mowed around this porch furniture since the big July 3rd bash. And the grass is drying out, but I got this new system. Bought a new mower for the first time this decade, and my first ever new trimmer. I've always had hand-me-down trimmers, and Jerry got to use the trimmer. And it's an Ego. I think I should get a kickback for promoting the Ego mower and trimmer. And let's see what else I want to talk about. Can't quite remember. We'll meet the kids at the Blue Hill, launch your meteorology career. In tomorrow morning's video, there was another shout out I wanted to give, and I'm not recalling it, but if I recall it before I'm done editing, I'll stick that in there. Otherwise, the and more from yesterday, from Blue Hill to here in Weymouth. Talk to you tomorrow. Where's Rex? Rex, are you stuck? What are you doing there? Sorry. Here we are at the tallest hill on the coast. Get some anthropogenic weather, condensation trail from a jet, and it is just remarkably still.
here at the Blue Hill Observatory on Monday, July 22nd. Anemometer actually pointed a little bit, or wind vane with an anemometer pointed a little bit towards the east, but just barely. Hardly a breath of wind. You can hear the generators for the tower, the communication tower. And the sun's high in the sky and it is hot. And we're teaching the course, Launch Your Weather Career, inside the gates of the great Blue Hill Observatory. 8 new students, 8 new future meteorologists. Well, new to me anyway. And we're back home. Bob Thompson's handling the afternoon session along with Dawn. Charlie's there at the Blue Hill, just drove back. Temperature was in the low to mid 80s leaving Blue Hill. Get back to the coastal area, it's in the low to mid 70s, very sticky. The dew point's 70 at the south coast, about the dew point's only 50 in northern New England. These boundaries, a lot of boundaries. Wind light from the east right now. T-Rex likes the hot sun. It still feels pretty hot to me. Just enough wind. Pleasant sailing today. Convection, higher clouds, and it looks like we've got a halo again. Refraction of sunlight off of ice crystals. And somebody asked, what's a sundog? And I said, well, that's also a refraction of sunlight off ice crystals, but a little different part of the optical phenomena family. And planes taking off toward the east, end up going up and over toward the south. Bit the bullet on the Ego electrical equipment. Let's see it. Charlie told us it was the Cadillac of lawn mowing and trimming. Sure beats that 12, hasn't started in 12 years mower behind you. Exceeds the power of gas. So far we like it. Just kind of push the button and it goes on its own. Neat, huh? Meanwhile, we've got a sea breeze front over Boston. Logan Airport 72, Norwood is 84. Look at, there we go. New and improved Ego. Now, if they could only invent a mower that actually lifts up and moves your lawn furniture while you mow. Ha, ha, ha. And that sedge grass grows out of control. It loves the hot, dry weather. Look at that, 8 inches new. And speaking of 8 inches new, those are ice crystals in the sky, even in the middle of the summer. We've talked about that so much lately. That's almost a snow-looking sky. If it were winter, though, I would say, nope, it's not a snow sky because you can see the delineation between the different layers of clouds. So the snow level is up around 17,000 feet. And we don't have those kind of mountains around here. Although I did get some video today from Mount Hood, Oregon. Timberline, I believe, in fine July form. All right, I got the yard furniture kind of back in place. And the lawn is going dormant now, burning out, whatever you want to call it. Not dead, though. And the sky, we've been making these analogies between a little summer nor'easter incoming and sort of wintertime weather with the ice crystals in the sky. And a rule in the winter is as soon as the sun disappears, the precipitation is getting thick enough that it reaches the ground. So how much precipitation? It's always a tough call. In the winter, you got to get it right when it's snow. In the summertime, people don't care that much between a tenth or 2/10 or 3/10 or a ½ inch, but that's the difference between less than an inch of snow and more than 5, and it's a huge deal in the wintertime. But it's not winter. Planes are taking off towards the east and the southeast, and that's Steve's favorite spot. Just sit there. So we'll leave this Steve view, and where you going to walkabout, and the time lapse of the day today. Back to Blue Hill. Tomorrow we'll meet the kids. Really nice kids. All future meteorologists. kinds of stuff. All right, until tomorrow.